Hey, what's up, Internet Land? This is Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Transformers first party review. Anyhow, today I'm going to look at the War for Cybertron Siege something trilogy. I don't know, Transformers Generations, all of the subtitles. Current mainline thingamajig, Megatron. So Megatron is a Voyager class figure. And should have brought out a size comparison, I think. Voyager class figures are getting a little smaller, but like he's got a lot of this figure doesn't feel cheap, you know. I mean, a lot of the stuff like the robots in disguise figures and the Transformers Cyberverse figures, like they just all have been starting to feel super cheap. And even a lot of these, I've recently become almost completely disenfranchised with the Studio Series figures, because my last Studio Series figure that I picked up, which was the Studio Series Deluxe Class Bumblebee from the Bumblebee movie, was a complete utter piece of garbage. And in fact, all the ones I looked up in reviews were all like that, and I was like, man, why would Hasbro put out crap like that? But this figure is actually really good. Looks good from all sides, from the front, from the back. He has a fairly low degree of hollowness to him, which is nice. I mean, of course, plastic all requires to have a certain degree of hollowness, but like, you know, his arms are made from like two pieces here that go together, so there's not like any kind of gap in between. You do have some things like this, like there's a cavity there, there's a cavity there, but these are things that are essential for the design of the figure, so, you know, there's that. But let's get on to accessories. For accessories, he comes with his fusion rifle. So I'm just going to pull this off. Again, no gaps on it, so like it's really, really well designed. I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. It seems to be a nice little piece of work here. And fairly good, you know. I mean, this is just a simple piece of plastic, but like the look of it, the surface details and whatnot, the greebles, as people like to say, really good looking. His other weapon is kind of strange. So it's a sword, and it's meant to reference the sword that the G1 Megatron toy came with. But in addition to that, it's got like a scope, and you're like, oh, okay. So this is actually, you can take these and pull them out slightly to disengage these tabs here. And these will rotate. And then you can cram this on here. And I don't know if you put it like this, because the scope is facing this way. You put it like this or whatnot. But now it's some sort of a like a bigger, meaner, scarier, weirder looking gun. I don't know, maybe it's best if you take these and flip them around. I kind of like that better. So now he's got like a big, crazy looking fusion rifle with a scope on it that he can't see down, but you know, being a robot, I'm sure he's got some sort of remote way of viewing the down those optics. So that's that. This sword, when it's in sword mode, I mean, of course when it's in either mode as well, but when it's in sword mode, it's got these tabs here, and I'm not sure where these tabs go or what they do. I don't see any corresponding slots anywhere on this figure, this tab and this tab, but they definitely are there. They definitely look like they're intentionally designed mating features. I don't know, but good paint apps on this gun, by the way. There's some silver and some black. Well, no, it's just black plastic, silver and some red. Good bit of paint apps on them. And all the red on this guy, by the way, is all paint apps as well. No red plastic here, like the last Voyager Megatron we got had a fair amount of red plastic on him. But yeah, that's his accessories. In terms of articulation, his head is on a ball joint. But so first of all, you'll see his head. There's the ball joint exposed right there. It's really far in the back of his head. Doesn't have a full like 360, but I mean, whose head actually needs to go 360? He'll look up and down a little bit. He's got this panel here that this is part of transformation, but you can kind of move that a bit to kind of fake a little bit more range out of his up and down joint on his neck. That works out, I guess. His arm will go around. It's on a universal joint. It'll go out. This tab right here is going to get in the way in some poses. Like, he'll be able to move his arm all the way out in that position, but not, say, in this position. So, something to be noted of. He does have a rotation at his elbow and about 90 degrees of range on his elbow. We'll say 92 degrees. No rotation at the wrist. This is a transformation joint. Not really that great for posing. He does have a waist swivel. His waist swivel is off the chain or whatever, something. His waist swivel goes all the way around. It's not impeded by his backpack at all. Like, this backpack has got a little bit of flex on it, and so it just flexes when his waist comes around. His hip joints will go forward all the way, back all the way, especially if this gets out of the way a little bit. He will do a full Van Damme. He has a thigh swivel right here at a cut, about 90 degrees of bend at the knee. No forward and back movement on his ankle, but he does have a fair amount of ankle tilt. This does click into place. This one here clicks really easily. This one here takes a little bit more effort to snap it back into place, but it's all good. Also, this one seems to be, I mean, neither of these are really load-bearing joints, but this one seems to be a little more rigid. This one, as you can see, is more floppy, but I mean, neither of them doesn't affect his posability whatsoever. You know, he doesn't stand up by virtue of the rigidity of his ankle joints. It's actually the hip joints that really make a stance work. But yeah, very good looking figure, very good representation of G1 Megatron, which is really what they're going for, I believe, and I think that they've straight up nailed it. Just a splendid figure, and he doesn't turn into a gun, which I actually like. I've always thought that the concept of a gun Megatron was a little bizarre, even when I was really young, and guns were cool. Anyhow, let's get him transformed up. So to get him transformed up, first thing we're going to do is we're going to straighten out his arms all the way. We're actually just going to straighten them all out, like he's standing at attention. We're going to unclip these treads here from his backpack and start to move this up like that. Then we're going to take here, and this gun is going to rotate around 180 degrees. These panels here that my fingers are on, these are going to go up. We're going to take this gun sword thing here, again, pull this off out over these tabs. We're going to rotate the blade part around 180 degrees, and that is going to tab in right on the end of his cannon, which has a 5mm hole in it. And then his arms are going to disconnect at the shoulder connections here. We're going to pull this around. There's a tab on the other side of his fusion cannon that's going to plug into this right here, like that. Put his hands in. These treads are going to come all the way out. I'm going to fold this in a bit. Before we put this into its final position, we want to just take his waist, move it around 180 degrees, that'll get that into the proper position. Then we can get these treads into their proper position. There are 2 tabs on this gray panel here, corresponding slots on those dark brown tabs. And then this whole thing will sit here and it will collapse down, oopsie, over Megatron's torso like so. Now he's hiding in there. For his legs here, what we're going to do is we're going to look at him from the underside here. These panels are going to pull up. You're going to take his legs and put them all the way out in the full Van Damme position, and then you're going to bend it at this joint, which is exposed upon opening up this panel. Go back. Like so. Like so. And then you're going to kind of stick your thumb right here, and you're going to bend it at his thigh swivel and the knee joint 180 degrees, and then you're going to tilt it in ever so slightly like that. This panel is going to fold up, locking his leg into position. And by the way, there's a slot right here in this tab on the side of his waist. That tab is going to go into that slot. You're going to close up his fist or toe and angle it like that. Same with the other side. Put your thumb there, rotate this all the way around, angle it in ever so slightly, close that up, tab it in, foot, ankle, make sure everything's all tightened up. And yeah, there we go. That's the tank mode. That's the tank. Hey, orient this down a little bit more. And he makes for a fairly decent looking H tank. You can actually pretty prominently see the H shape to his H tank mode. Pretty nice, I think. It's a simple but effective transformation, which is, of course, my favorite kind of transformation. Feels like I've got something misaligned here, but I really don't. This doesn't really tab in as well as, unless I'm doing something wrong, which is definitely possible. Oh, maybe I was doing something wrong. Oh, hey, that has more. Nope, it doesn't have more tabs. I'm like, that has more tabs, but it doesn't. Oh, yeah, so that went in just a little smidge more, and now it feels more solid. There you go. Be sure you push it together real good. But his turret rotates more or less. It's it doesn't feel very even at all under here. So like this tab kind of clinks around, and like you can feel it hitting on different things as it goes around, but you know, also as it's going around it seems to push out those front treads again. No elevation in this. Like, this is connected with just a simple peg, so you think it should have elevated, but as it ends up, because of the inclusion of the sword blade, it does not elevate. I can live with it though just fine. He does have wheels on the bottom here, so he'll roll. And yeah, that's about all I can say for that. I forgot to mention all of his 5mm ports all over his body. Had them on the feet, on the leg, on the backpack again, on the shoulders, on the forearms. Bunch of different stuff. You can connect all sorts of things to him, because that is like the big thing about this is like, hey, we're gonna put 5mm ports everywhere on the figures so they do all of the things. That's something. But yeah, he's a good figure. Price on him right now stands at $30 for a Voyager, and I don't know, as a guy who you know has been in Transformers for all this time, I still feel like that's more than you should pay for a Voyager. And yet I understand how inflation works, and I know that that's just kind of the going price for these things these days. And I definitely feel like $30 for this guy is money better spent, I think, than $30 on, say, like, I'm just going to go out and just say one of the Studio Series figures. I know I was gushing over the Studio Series figures when I was new into them, but in retrospect, like having had them for several months, I've just, as time goes on, there's like less and less about the Michael Bay franchise that I even care about, and that includes the merchandise. But this guy, I mean, he has the nostalgia. He's got the like. It's a good figure. It's a good figure. It's a good toy. I like it. By the way, he does have this paint splatters here. I'm sure with some rubbing alcohol, some isopropyl alcohol, you can take that off if you really, really need to. I think it looks great. I think it looks fine. I think it looks, I mean, it makes him look like he's been through some shit, because he's Megatron and he has been through some shit. So I think it's very appropriate, and it looks just great. By the way, I've noticed, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've noticed that there's like two types of this paint splatters. There's the ones like this, where and I'd have to have a second one to really know for certain. I'm not planning on getting a second Megatron. But this really looks like a specific paint app. Like there doesn't seem to be any randomness about this. This is probably done with a stencil of some sort. They just stick it on there and put some paint on, like a lot of paint apps are done, like these ones and stuff like that. Whereas a lot of these other Siege figures have this type of paint app on here, which is almost like a dry brush technique, where they take a brush, take most of the paint off of it, and just kind of go like that. And it's really interesting to see which figures have this type of paint app and which figures have this type of paint app, and it's not separated by class, because this is a Voyager class figure, this is a Deluxe class figure. This guy has the brush ones, but like this one, which is also a Deluxe class figure, very clearly has the paint app ones. So I don't know, interesting things, paint apps, engineering, what can I say? Anyhow, thanks everybody for watching. This has been the Voyager class Megatron from War for Cybertron Siege, and it's a good figure. Thumbs up. I like it. And I will catch y'all on the flip side. Have a great day, and I'll see you around. Bye.